Welcome to a FIDES webinar on the ISO 20022 and the Swift migration. Today we're going to talk about what XML, hence the ISO 20022 migration brings for you as a corporate, what is relevant for you, and what should be your first steps towards this migration. First, let's look at what is ISO 20022 and what is behind the magical word XML. We live in a global world using a lot of different communication tools. Now, we have decided naturally to communicate in English. And why is that? Because English is a global standardized language enabling us to communicate with each other frictionless, seamless, and end-to-end with everybody understanding at least most of it. And exactly the same is XML. XML is nothing else than a standardized language enabling interoperability, seamless end-to-end communication between all the parties from the beginning till the end. Now, let's look at what we know about the ISO 20022 migration on Swift level. What? Well, we're going to replace the empty category 1, 2, and 9. Here you might know the MT 101, payment initiation, and the MT 940 or 42, which is the account report. They will be now replaced with the XML or MX message, PAIN for payment initiation, COM for account reporting, or POX for intrabank payments. And if you see somewhere MX or XML in this context on a white paper, in the internet, on a Swift page, it means virtually the same. Also, when will it happen? Well, the whole thing started in March 23 and with the goal set till November 25. Now, here to mention is that Swift brought an update in June 24 where they focus on the payment initiation part. That means that the MT 101 are to be replaced by November 25. Now, where will that all happen? It will happen from Fin to Fin Plus. These are the channels used by Swift for those services. Fin for the MT, the new one, Fin Plus, for the XML messages. And it will only affect the financial bigs. So, who is not affected by it? Any score agreement, meaning as if you are a corporate with your own corporate big, then you're not affected by this migration, you're out of scope. As well as other empty categories. Well, the remaining empty categories, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Also, alternative Swift channels, Swift Filect or Mockhook. Just quickly, side note, Mockhook is a closed user group on the Swift network. Additionally, any alternative channel is not affected by this Swift ISO migration. For example, the EBIX or host-to-host. So, what does this really mean for you as a corporate? You will be most affected by the HVPS Plus, high-value payments, typically more than $1 million, and the cross-border payments, the CBPR Plus. These over the Swift network will have an effect on you as a corporate. This is not where the story ends at Swift. The ISO 20022 migration is far beyond Swift. Most clearing systems around the world have already migrated, and others like the US will follow shortly. For example, you know from the SEPA region that we have already ISO 20022 messages in use. And also banks' backends, multi-banking and intermediary, as well as programs such as ERP and TMS system will or did already migrate to the ISO 20022 standard. Now, what does this mean for you as a corporate? If you're a payment initiator or a statement receiver, prior to the XML migration, the inner core was working on legacy messages or empty messages. Now, it didn't really matter what format you sent in or what format you needed. Somewhere in the full end-to-end process, there was some mapping, conversion, or other adjustment needed to your file. This is how an MT 101 looks currently, or an MT 940. So what are the effects for you as a corporate? To seamless process your payments from end to end. As you can see, the future language of payments is XML. So banks correspond with each other in XML, also with the clearing systems. So now if you still send in an empty format or another legacy format, and receive or need to receive a legacy format, somewhere into the end-to-end process, still a conversion mapping would need to take place. And surely somewhere needs to pay for this conversion. So if the bank is taking over or an intermediary is taking over this conversion, I'm sure this won't be free for you. Therefore, wouldn't you want, just for that reason, migrate already yourself to XML? But even more interesting and important will be future needs and musts, such as the structured address. We know that worldwide, most of the places, structured address will become mandatory as of November 26. And by then, you will need to provide structured address in your payment initiation. And sure, you can technically bridge that in MT 101 with schema 59F, I believe. However, it is not as efficient and native as using it in XML with a natural transaction end-to-end smooth process, which is uninterruptible. Pay and the code. Now I hope this first part with the overview of the ISO 20022 migration on Swift and beyond was helpful for you. In the second video, we will look at why this ISO XML migration should be adopted by every corporate to overcome today's treasurer's challenges.